Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Ships at sea.
welcome to the Bill Crane Report. My friend Dwayne Weiss is sitting here, eager to go.
Yeah.
As usual, we got a power-packed show for you today. I got lots of things to talk about. Probably won't have enough time, but I'm going to start off with two public service announcements.
Oh, good.
First of all,
Yes, sir.
yours truly, Billy Crane, was sitting at home, and I got a phone call. Anonymous.
Oh, I get those.
Yeah.
Anonymous or name not available.
Yeah. So anyway.
Did you actually answer it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And, hello. This is the Social Security calling with an important announcement. Irregularities have been seen in your account.
Well, I get those same one.
You must contact us immediately. Now I tell you, the FBI is also investigating your account. If you do not call us immediately, you will have your Social Security payments frozen.
Yep. And then they get the end. Sometimes they have a nice day.
Yeah. So then she gives me not an 800 number, but a regular phone number, and I'm sure it's a little burner.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So, my dear friends, the Social Security does not call you.
No.
Okay? And she said, you must call us back because there is important information you must give us.
Another one you're going to get is Comcast. It'll come up as Comcast Business Office,
Yep.
sometimes just Comcast. It's a scam. Comcast is not calling you, even though the number looks like Comcast. And Eversource.
Oh,
You're-
Eversource, yeah.
That's another scam.
Eversource called the other day, and
Sounds like the same people did the same recording.
oh yeah, and it was, I have wonderful news for you. Because of your excellent credit rating, you are eligible for up to a 30% discount on your electrical bill. Blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, stop right now. I said, where are you calling from? Click.
Yeah.
That was that.
That was.
Folks, that's a scam too.
That's a scam.
They are going to try to get you to take a holding company that is going to bill you and buy this electricity from Eversource, pass it to you, and charge you for it.
Yep. And another theme that scheme got now is clean energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come from solar or wind.
Yeah.
And you got to be socially responsible if you want to have electricity. You definitely want to do this. If you look at the rates, though, you're paying about 30-40% more.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Than you
and
would.
not only that, but there's no way in hell. They buy the power off the grid.
Once it's dumped into the grid, you don't know what it is.
That's right. It's like soup.
Yeah.
You just keep putting stuff in there.
Yeah, don't fall for that one either.
Yeah. Basically, if you don't know who's calling, just hang up.
Yeah. Or don't answer it.
Yeah. Or don't answer it. Yeah. But I know so many of our senior citizens are wonderful and kind and loving people, and they just cannot hang up on people. Folks, you got to do it. They're out to scalp you. So if you get one of these calls, whammo, down with it. Don't even listen to it, because it's strictly after your money. Now, that was public service number one. Public service number two. there is a sad situation here in town. I must show you this shoe.
You know, I saw you walk in with that. I said, is this a new phase that Bill Crane's going to go through here or what?
Now, it's a little small for me to be wearing, but it has arrived at my house under very mysterious circumstances. Now, I'm afraid that there is a woman in town walking around
With 1 foot on.
limping badly because she has lost her shoe. This, to my mind, is an intolerable situation. I feel very badly for her.
Is it a designer shoe?
It says Rampage on it.
I don't know if that, you folks might know, but I don't know if that's a,
It says on the bottom, Frankie. That's the style, I think. 8 and 3/8. 8.5. 8.5 M. All man-made materials. Made in China. Oh, no, China.
that's a shocker.
Yep.
The China made.
So, folks, if you see this unfortunate lady limping into the bank or into church on Sunday, tell her that I have her shoe
That's right.
and that she can walk upright once again by coming to my house and claiming it. Bring 3 sources, different sources of identification.
And on
I'm not going
daylight hours only.
That's right. So, there.
It's amazing I live on a busy road. It's amazing you walk down that road with the grass and stuff, what people throw out of the cars.
Oh, yeah.
You expect the junk,
Yeah.
the beer cans and the soda cans and everything else. But shoes, too, that's quite popular along the side of the road.
Yeah. Especially men's jogging shoes.
Yeah. What do they just drive down the street and throw them out?
You know, I think it's construction guys. And I think they got the shoes in the back of the pickup truck.
And they might,
got
fly
change into boots. And
Yeah.
then they change back into shoes. Oh, the hell with it. I'm wearing the boots. And out the door.
The only good thing I ever found out there was one morning I went out and I said, what is that by my mailbox? I went out and it was 3 or 4 big bags of fertilizer. And these were like 80, 100 pound. They were commercial fertilizers. Just laying out there. One bag had burst open. There's 3, 4 more of them laying there. I got the wheelbarrow and wheeled the stuff back in.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah, it was good stuff, too.
When the bottle bill first came in many moons ago, the kids and I would go up around the stadium after a football game.
I bet you.
In the parking lots. We'd pick stuff up. And I also would take a ride over to the Eagle Brook Saloon. And of course, they get their parking area out back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always find 8 or 10 or 12 bottles and cans out there, too. And the kids would hop out and get them. And oh boy, they were making money hand over fist. One morning over there, I hopped out because there was 3 cans. By the way, I'd find full cans of beer, too, a lot of times.
Yeah.
And one morning I hopped out to get 2 or 3 cans over there, $20 bill on the ground.
There you go. Lucked out.
Yep. So, anyway, my 2 public announcements are taken care of. And now I'm actually prepared. This is scary.
It is.
But
it's going to change the whole complexion of this thing.
I have got a whole bunch of things to ask your opinion of.
Okay. I don't know what it's worth, but you can ask.
If it ever appears a Democrat may win in 2020, I believe that we have got to stay on high alert. I think everyone has to stay on high alert. Because at the first hint that the Radical Party may take charge of things in Washington, we've got to sell out all of our investments. Because the ensuing crash is going to make 1929 look like a blip on a radar screen. Once a very esteemed Senator Warren.
I was just going to mention her.
Yes. She said the first act that she's going to do is sign into put out a presidential decree that ends fracking.
Yep.
Now,
then she's going to start breaking up the big companies.
yeah, but let's just stick with fracking
alone?
for a minute.
Yeah, okay.
We are energy independent in this country.
Yes, we are.
We have gas that is $2.37 a gallon this morning. And let me tell you something, folks, it's because of fracking. By the way, there's not been one accident at a fracking installation. Not one. And I'll tell you, you have to believe me, because if there were one, the Democrats would have it in huge, screaming headlines.
There's no question about
every newspaper in the world. So, fracking is safe. Fracking produces extremely high-quality oil.
Yep.
It doesn't require real, you could jump through hoops refining it. It is sweet oil. And it's abundant. We're energy independent in this country. If she stops fracking, the price of gasoline will go from $2.37 to $7 or $8 a gallon, because we will have to go to the Middle East, hat in hand, on bended knee, and say, please sell us oil.
Yep.
And we will then experience playback.
Well, you saw how dependent we were on imported oil back in the,
1970s.
70s, when the gas lines and stuff?
Yeah.
They damn near brought this country to its knees with that.
Damn well. Well, I tell you what, in a lot of ways they did. Yeah. 2 and 3 hours sitting in line to get a tank full of gas, and then have the guy say, I'm limiting it to 8 gallons.
Yep, exactly.
And have it skyrocket.
But you had no choice. They had you.
Well, that's right. We went from under $1 a gallon up to $3 a gallon in the blink of an eyelash.
Everybody said, wait till it gets to be $1 a gallon, it'll be everywhere. Well, it went to $1 a gallon, it kept on going. Yep.
So, friends, it'll put not thousands of people out of work. It'll put tens of thousands of people out of work immediately.
Well, they're going to eliminate. They're going to eliminate fossil fuels anyway, according to them.
Yeah, they're going to stop fossil fuels.
Oh yeah, they've got the most ridiculous policies. How anybody with common sense could say you can do that? Because you can't. You just can't do what they're saying.
I'm honing in on Senator Warren.
Yeah,
because she has said, this is the first thing I'm going to do.
Yep.
I'm going to stop fracking. Why are you going to do that, Senator? And then watch the song and dance. Mm-hmm. It's dangerous. What's happened? And she just changes the subject.
She changes the subject. Yeah. Just like when I ask, with all her programs, is this going to raise the taxes in the middle class? And she'll start telling you about the birds flying over about the birds in the lake or something. She makes something else up.
Did you see any blurbs from her interview with Stephen Colbert?
No.
Well,
I can't stand the guy.
I can't say how I really feel about Stephen Colbert, because
he's the biggest phony.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
And he thinks he's funny when he tries to be funny, too, but he's not funny either.
He's not funny. And X just, anyway. So he said, Senator, so Medicare for all, how are we going to pay for this? And she mouthed off, we're going to, the rich are going to, and he said, and then he said to her, there's not enough rich people to do this.
Yep.
How are we going to pay for this? Will, and she changed the subject again. And he said, how are we going to pay for this, Senator? You've got to answer me. And
I'm surprised he pursued it.
And then that was the end of it. Evidently, she must have kicked him under the table or said something, or maybe they went to an ad. I don't know. But that was a very interesting clip. Now, is there anyone else that has the moxie to ask her that?
No.
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 And I don't know how the hell he got away with it.
I don't either. But good. I'm glad he did. That's
Yeah.
at least something to his credit.
Yeah. But these people go on shows that either pre-rehearsed or else with ultra-friendly talking heads. I'll never forget Ted Kennedy going on Meet the Press.
Oh, I can imagine.
And they asked him a question, and he said, that wasn't on the list of questions you gave my staff.
Yeah. Most of those interviews,
geez.
particularly with politicians, that's all pre-screened.
Isn't that something?
Oh, yeah. Even their town halls that they do.
Yeah.
Those questions are pre-screened, and some of them are so phony. This little kid will get up there and give this complex question with all kind of innuendos and meanings to it, on and on and on. I thought, how long did that kid practice that?
In New Hampshire, these town hall meetings in New Hampshire, when Senator Warren
Yep.
or Bernie Sanders or whatever, the only people invited are Democratic activists.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're given a 3x5 index card with a question on it. Certain ones are.
Yep.
If you have a card, you hold your hand up, not with the card, but up like this.
Yep.
And then you can ask your question. But it has to come from the card. No freelancing.
I'd like to see some plants get in there, just to stir things up.
It would just like that.
Yep.
And what else is interesting too, that I get a big kick out of, is you and I are up on the stage, and out here is the audience. There's never any shots
Oh, no.
here,
No.
or any low-level shots from far away.
No.
Because there's nobody in the seats.
There's very few people there sometimes, and they make damn sure that you're not going to see that audience.
Never see it. So, getting back to my question, you're going to have to be on top of our game, partner.
Yep.
I know. Well, my financial advisor is a friend. And I enjoy going and sitting down with him every once in a while. So I'm going to say to him, well, if you ever get a glimmer, don't be bashful about sharing it with me.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have to be out there buying gold, just like they say on TV.
I wouldn't put it past them to do something restricting the purchasing of gold. I wouldn't be surprised if we went back to that.
It not only just the fiscal policies. I'm afraid that if we get one of those 3 or 4 Looney Tunes in the presidential office, and then we get a bunch more of the Omars and the Illads and the Presleys and stuff in Congress, and they start controlling both houses also, that's going to be dangerous.
It's going to be disastrous.
Yeah, it's going to, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean,
All right.
they'll have given away everything.
Folks, good advice. Keep your eyes on your fries. If you got some stock holdings, mutual funds, investments, boy, watch out.
Yeah.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
And we know that a lot of you people out there are lifelong Democrats. But for God's sake, it's too dangerous now to go on and just check the D, everybody with a D on their name, because there's some real Looney Tunes out there today, and you got to be really careful who you're voting for.
Yeah, it's sad. It is sad. The political landscape has changed so dramatically. Richard Russell was a senator from Georgia, and I remember him being interviewed on TV. Dick Rogers, and he was one of LBJ's closest confidants. Smart guy. And he was musing one day on television, and he said, eventually we will evolve into a realignment of the parties. And we will have a conservative party and a radical party.
Yep.
And he said, because the Democrats are not comfortable having conservatives in the Democratic Party. The Republicans are not wild about having liberals in the Republican Party. It has got to be a realignment.
Right.
Yeah, where you gravitate to the home that you feel most comfortable in.
I'm not even sure the party denomination and nomenclature should even be used anymore.
I agree with you. I think it should be the Conservative Party and
you
the Radical Party.
Right now, you're 100% one way or 100% the other way. There's nothing in the middle, and nothing's getting done. We're completely stymied.
It's almost like France.
Yeah.
And they're doing it because they've got like 4 or 5 parties in the mix. And if we ever started splintering, we'd have chaos.
But look at, you just mentioned about things have changed, the landscape has changed. Did you ever think that one of the major county in this state would vote for and elect a district attorney that won't prosecute crime? Now, her job, as the definition, is to be the head prosecutor.
That's right. She's the number one
prosecutor,
the number one police official.
That's right.
In Suffolk County.
That's exactly what happened, though. Suffolk County elected a woman who came right out and said, I'm not prosecuting, I'm not going to, any of this crime and this crime and this crime, I'm not going to prosecute it.
We're going to clean the jails out.
Yeah, just let them go.
We got too many people in there that don't belong in jail.
5 years ago, if you said the candidate like that, they said, there's no way somebody like that's going to get elected district attorney. But they did.
What do you make of the Iran mess as President Trump tightens the screws with sanctions? Where do you start, huh?
Yeah, the situation in Iran is like dealing with 2-year-olds. They are so illogical and uncompromising on their views, and so much of it's based. They don't come out and say it is, but it's based on the Quran and some of the.
Oh,
the
they
Islamic,
can read out and say.
Oh, yeah, but but it's there.
Oh, Sharia law.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't deal with them because they play this hard nose that Allah's on our side. And to me, I have no doubt at all their fingerprints all over that Saudi Arabia raid.
For any of you folks that perhaps have missed the news here lately, there was an attack by cruise missiles
And drones.
On the oil fields in Saudi Arabia.
Well, it was just the oil. It was a processing unit.
Yeah,
processing plants.
Too.
Distillery, or not distillery, refractories.
And refineries. Or distribution points. And the Iran's not claiming they did it. They're denying they did it. But the fingerprints are all over it. Now, they say, well, it probably came from the rebels.
Yeah, there was the Houthis.
In Kuwait?
Houthis.
Yeah, not Kuwait. The rebels,
Yeah, I know.
the Saudis are
The
trying to...
Huthies,
Yeah.
I think is how I don't know how it's pronounced, some of those words. But
But they don't have the sophistication for it. And number one, they're over here. Saudi Arabia is here.
yeah,
Iran's here. And the direction of the missiles was here.
yeah. And not only that, they were pinpointed.
Yeah.
If you look at the aerial maps that got hit, they hit bum, 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 exactly where they were supposed to hit. Now the group that claims responsibility at Iran says they did it, and then they say, yes, well, yeah, we did it. They're barely out of horse type warriors.
Yeah.
They only got guns because they found them someplace or somebody gave them to them.
Throwing rocks is
Yeah,
more
they're
their style.
quite primitive. There's no way that they could pull off. First of all, have the equipment, and number two, have the technology to do it.
To use the
Yeah.
equipment, yeah. So now we have the U.S. pretty much, well, one of the news leaks this afternoon was, look, we saw, we've seen the missiles being fired from Iran, okay? So we know where they came from. So they've tightened the sanctions on Iran. And Iran did this activity, plus harassing ships in Straits of Hormuz. They did it because they are striking back, because they are trying to get the attention of the world to they are being hurt terribly by these sanctions by the bad U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So President Trump just said, okay, we'll just ratchet those sanctions right up there. So now we're hurting them more. So if they start playing tit for tat, I would expect more from them. Now, I would also expect that whether we went through Sweden or whether we went through Switzerland, we also explain the facts of life that the next outrage from you people is probably going to really hurt you, because then we're going to use military.
Well, you can count on there's back channels, no matter who it is, whether it be Iran or North Korea. They say, well, we don't have diplomatic relationships with this country or this country. We still have ways of getting messages in and out. In the intelligence community, they call them back channels. They're sometimes through third parties, and sometimes they're not through third parties. They're actual direct.
Yeah, and sometimes,
But they're clandestine. You will never know where
and
they are.
sometimes they're from highly placed
Oh, yeah.
individuals.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is President Trump resisted using military force.
Yep.
And hurts him just as badly by tightening the sanctions.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens now. And he keeps saying, willing to sit down with you folks and talk about this.
No,
They're not going to do it.
they're playing hardball, and they think that they're going to have, as long as they can cause some damage and hurt, they think they're going to have a leverage or advantage.
And I think the Russians are also whispering in their ear,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. So I think that right now it's simmering, but it could start boiling over there. And that would not be a good thing.
And plus, you notice China hasn't said a word either.
Yeah.
Because this attack on Saudi Arabia's oil production, or product production, it's not so much their oil, but it's how they're processing. 50% of that was going to China.
Well, China also was a long-term purchaser of oil from Iran.
That's right.
So they get a double whammy here.
Yep.
So the Chinese have to really tread carefully.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next question. When will we see a deal with China? Do you have any thoughts on what it might look like?
I think the trade war as such is going to gradually dwindle down. You see, there are some things now that have been released or let up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of posturing on both sides.
Oh, no question.
Because China depends, their existence depends on that dollar and the trade.
Absolutely.
Without that world trade, they're back to rickshaws.
And we really hurt them with the tariffs on pork and on soybeans. And I don't know whether you folks know or not, but this year in China, they lost 50% of their hogs to swine flu.
Swine flu, that's right.
So pork is an important staple.
That's the most popular meat.
Number one meat
Yep.
in the Chinese diet. And number two, guess what? They feed the hogs that they have.
Soybeans.
Soybeans.
High protein.
Yep.
Yep.
So here we put sanctions, tariffs on these two products. Now, we've lightened up on it. And they, in turn, have agreed to buy large quantities of soybeans, and they're buying pork.
Yeah.
So, gestures like this, I think, will thaw out the freeze on the negotiations. But the negotiations will be very difficult and probably will take years.
Yeah. Well, China saw almost immediate reaction on some of these things. I saw that in the Wall Street Journal that their manufacturing processes are down 20-some%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And when the talk starts talking about, they're saying things like, well, we probably can't bring some of these manufacturings back here, but there are other sources. You got Vietnam, you got Qatar, you've got some of the South American and Central American countries where you could go just as easy to China.
Malaysia,
another one. Yep.
and we have big companies that have said, okay, we are moving our supply line to South Korea.
Yep.
Or we are moving it to Vietnam or to Thailand.
Bangladesh is another one.
Bangladesh.
Yep.
And once they begin to disassemble the supply line and move components to another country, let me tell you, they're not going to go back to China.
No.
I mean, that would be absolutely stupid to commit to all that money to move it, only to say, oh, okay, we're friends with China again. Oh, let's just move it all. It don't work that way.
China's economy is built on the continuation of that kind of trade, that kind of business coming in. And their existence as a communist country is tolerated by its citizens only because they got a better lifestyle now.
That's correct.
They're not stupid. They know what's going on in the world, unlike some of the North Koreans.
Yeah, they have more than a limited idea of what's going on, but they don't realize the totality of what's going on out there because they only get bits and pieces because that's all the Chinese government will allow them to see. And that's quite a high wire act by the Chinese government.
Oh, yeah.
Because, but one of the secret weapons we have is we allow tremendous amounts of Chinese people, young people, to come here and go to college.
Yep.
Guess what? They're going back with the truth.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like little time bombs going back over there.
And there are quite a few Chinese tourists here, too.
To come here, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think that's number one now in this country is the Chinese tourists, as far as the money is concerned, the money they spend. And what they see, they go back with, too. Yeah. And they say, oh, no, this is true. I've seen it. I've done it.
Yeah.
My own feeling on the deal is we're going to see a partial deal, and then another partial deal, and then we're going to get down to the legalistics of them stealing our information and our secrets.
Yep.
And there was probably where the roadblock is going to be.
Intellectual properties is a big problem there.
Their Constitution says that anyone that develops something like a patent or a device or a new way of doing things or a vaccine must hand it over to the government.
If you want to do business in China, you got to give it to the
Got to give it to the
them.
government.
Yep.
And they'll decide whether or not you can proceed.
They took our solar cell business that way.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Changing gears a little bit. Any thoughts on this vaping controversy?
I think vaping is probably a lot more dangerous than anybody ever thought.
Now, you're an ex-smoker.
Yes, I am. It's been about 40 years, but I was a smoker. And there was no such thing as vaping then. It was just
No.
good old Camels and Pall Malls. And
Yeah, and don't let me go without touching on huffing also.
oh, that stupid thing, yeah.
Yeah. But
That's you got a death wish to do that.
that's right. But it's this vaping is beginning to look like,
Yeah.
You're putting hot oil into your lungs.
I see it. I don't know because this is just my mouth shooting off here.
It's a good place to do it, right? On this
As a
show.
smoker, though,
We encourage it.
when I watched when these people when they smoke, you inhale, you take a puff of smoke, and then you inhale that. You don't take that cigarette and draw it from all the way. Oh, you kill yourself if you draw so much smoke. With vaping, that's a different story. They're taking that thing and they're drawing that into their lungs as deep as they can get it. You ever see them when they let out clouds of that vapor? I mean, good Lord, where's all that coming from?
Yeah.
That's because they inhale so deep with it. And I think there's some value to the studies that show that this is not safe.
Do you know that when I was 15 or 16 or 17, I don't know, it's all a blur back there, I tried a couple of cigarettes. And I said to myself, this is the stupidest thing I can think of. It tastes awful. What the hell am I doing this for? And also, I knew smokers. And, I'm not smart. We know that. I'm not terribly bright.
Well, we're not the Mensa type, that's all.
But I knew smokers who you could see were weak as kittens from smoking.
Oh, yeah.
One guy in particular that I knew smoked for 100 years, and he was a chain smoker. And when he coughed, all he could do is go.
Yep.
He had no lung power at all. And I said to myself, this is from smoking. And I'm not bright.
My problem with smoking was that, unlike you, I liked the smell and the taste of tobacco.
Okay.
To
Yeah.
me, that was I still like somebody walking by with a pipe or a good cigar. To me, it still smells good.
I like the smell of cigars, yeah. Yeah. But I puffed on a couple of them, and I said, what? No,
I
it's
know.
just crazy,
That was one of the worst things I ever did was start to smoke.
Yeah.
Because the addiction, now you weren't a smoker, but you have no idea how strong
Oh, I
that
do.
nicotine addiction is.
Oh, I do. I had friends. I have friends. One of them, his father was a heavy smoker, a good friend of mine.
Yep.
3 heart attacks. And the doctor said,
Now go back. keep
number
right on doing
one,
it.
you got to stop smoking and you got to take up walking and exercising. Number 2, heart attack. Why didn't you stop smoking?
Yep.
Number 3, heart attack. You're dead.
Yep.
Okay? And he died. He retired at 65, And I don't think he lasted 6 months.
You can see people that are on pulmonary assist, they supplemental oxygen or CPAP type machines. Yep. They still get put that down and they'll light a cigarette. It's the reason that the cigarettes were the reason they're on that machine to start with.
That's right.
But you cannot stop.
I know.
It messes with your brain, Bill.
Now, his son, I worked with him too. I worked with his son, hung out with his son. He was close to my age. Smoked and drank.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy, both.
Oh, yeah. Because when you drink,
you have to have a cigarette.
Yeah, cigarette tastes really good.
Yeah. And I said to him one time, I said, your dad's passed away. I said, it was because of smoking. Don't you think? And he said, Bill, if it was as easy as that, he said, I'm going to tell you right now.
Everybody would have quit.
I could quit drinking, maybe.
Yeah,
but I could never quit smoking. Yeah. I have tried a gazillion times. Can't do it.
I tried.
So he says, "The hell with it." He says, "I just give it up." He says, "That's it."
Then I quit for 6 months and slipped off the wagon.
Yeah. Went
back, and the second time it was even harder to quit. And I thought, boy, that's it. If I break this thing again, I said, I'm never touching them. But that's another danger of vaping.
Yeah,
the kids don't realize I don't care if you flavored or unflavored or what it is. It's still, they're selling you a nicotine-based product. And the nicotine is higher in that vaping than it was pick up a Winston or a Marlboro or whatever's out there today. In fact, a thing of vaping, I don't know how they register it, it's equivalent to a pack of cigarettes. Yeah. And that's taken in real quick.
Yeah.
And you're developing a whole nother generation of smokers.
They're addicted.
Maybe not smokers per se, but you're developing a whole generation of nicotine addicts.
Guess what they're going to do? They're going to start smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, if they can't get the vaping, then they'll do the cigarettes.
And the vaping is cleaning up the carcinogens.
Oh, yeah. And then they portray, we're doing such a great job. You look at these Juul ads.
Yeah.
My God, you'd think they were
medicine.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That they're curing something.
They're not. They're causing addiction, and you're also putting things in there that
who knows what it is.
Guess what? Maybe this isn't all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, holy cow! I don't know.
I'm not one for banning stuff, but this is one of those things I wouldn't say a word if they just sign something and there's no such thing anymore.
That's exactly the words I was kind of looking for. I was going to say, I'm no big fan of banning things. Back in the old days when it was okay to say I'm free, white, and 21, I can do as I please.
But you can...
Look, if you want to do something stupid like that, I'm not going to be the guy that says you can't do it.
My problem with any of that stuff is I don't want to have consequences of your actions.
That's right.
I don't want to pay for your bad decisions.
Your hospitalization.
Yeah, if you want to ride a motorcycle with no helmet, have at it.
That's right.
Be sure you're carrying a donor card, organ donor card.
Yep.
But when you get hurt doing that, don't get on my insurance because your head injuries cost millions of dollars.
That's right. And another friend of mine, drinking for sport on Saturdays. And guess how they got from bar to bar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Until one Saturday when my friend went straight and looked around behind him and his friend wasn't following. And he had gone headfirst into an oak tree.
Yep.
The oak tree never moved.
No, they usually come out on the wintering side.
And this guy never moved again either.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any idea where Bill O'Reilly is? Is he in the witness protection program someplace?
I think Bill O'Reilly is on that Newsmax channel.
He's disappeared.
I think you'll find him on channel 1115
11:15.
sometime. Yeah, I see him on the roster there.
Howie Kaz on.
Yep. 4 to 5 and 5 to 6.
Yep. Well, by gosh, you've answered a question for me.
Okay.
That's good.
I see O'Reilly's name was showing up someplace.
Because
there.
boy,
Yeah.
he when he was tossed off center stage, boy, he went underground for a long time. Who has a better chance of being the next mayor of Boston? Marty Walsh or me?
Either one of us. I'll tell you, you know what? I'm going to make a prediction right here. Who's going to be the next mayor of Boston? Wang, the city councilwoman.
Or Michelle Wu.
Well, that's the one
Michelle
I'm
Wu,
thinking. Wu,
yeah.
not
President of the
City council.
City Council.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. I got
She's doing all the right
not
things.
Wang. Wu.
Wu.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's articulate. She's attractive.
Yep. She's a minority. She's
yep.
female. You got, it's all lining up.
It
I mean,
is. It's like the stars lining up. Yeah, I agree with you totally.
Yeah.
Unless, and this was a story in the Globe. It was a one-liner. Unless Ayanna Pressley comes back to be the mayor of Boston.
If they vote her in, they get what they deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Careful what you vote for. They might get elected.
Yeah.
Now, Miss Wu there, did you see what was in the paper today with her and her child?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the
Her kid
4-year-old.
did not get into the
Kindergarten.
thought did not get into this pre-kindergarten thing that apparently in Boston there's more people wanting to get in these programs than there are seats for them. So they're supposed to go into a non-biased lottery. Well, Mrs. Wu or Miss Wu, 4-year-old, did not get picked. And then they said he did, and they took him to school, and, oh, no, we'd have a seat for you. But then from the read at the article, it looks like all hell broke loose. And they were moving heaven and earth to find a spot for this young man, this 4-year-old. And I think somebody's going to be in trouble because they didn't recognize that name Wu and who Wu was. Because I don't believe for a minute that somebody like Wu, a city councilman or some other administrator in the city or something else, has any trouble getting their kids into these programs, even though they're supposed to be by lottery.
What amazes me, Dwayne, is that it has got to this point. All you had to do was call the maintenance department and order another desk and have it brought in.
Right.
That's it. And never mind. Oh, well, I'm limited to 20. Listen, sweetheart, you want to keep teaching here in Massachusetts? It's going to be 21.
More pressure put on them than you know. I like the Globe. They run these. I like that part of the Globe when they run these
Spotlight teams.
Spotlight teams.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them make a study of how many kids get into this program that are actually descendants or kids of people in power and political power in Boston.
Let me tell
You'll
you.
find that they get in 100%.
Well, look at the judges.
Or you judges,
They nominate. Boy, every single one of them is a household name.
Yep.
Their uncle and their father and their mother.
Exactly.
And everybody has been involved in local or city or state government.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about, the number one sport in Massachusetts is not football. It's not baseball.
No.
It's a practice of patronage.
Patronage, yep, and cronyism.
Yep. Will the Patriots go undefeated?
No. If I had to put money, on a bet, yes or no, I'd say no, because there's so many pitfalls and so many trap teams out there that you don't know. You could walk into last year's Dolphin game, they lost by 1. And
Heaven forbid, but Tom Brady might get a stinger in his shoulder or even a mild concussion, have to sit out a game. You can't predict those kinds of things. But I'll tell you what, this is the strongest defense I have seen the Patriots ever
I
have.
agree there.
They are terrific.
They got to do something with that offensive line now. They got so many holes.
Yeah, they do. And you know that guy down in Washington,
Trent Williams.
Yeah, he's still sitting it out, and
He's a
wants
monster
to
of
be
a
traded.
guy. You ever seen his picture of
And
him?
he's a hell of a
He's
football
about that
player.
wide.
Yeah. I mean, he's been all pro all kinds of times. Would take a number one draft choice.
Yep.
They're going to have to pay him about $10 million, $10.8
Yep,
million.
that's right.
But he's also under control for the following year. Now, if he buys off on it without demanding a raise, that could be the move that I'll go over to. Yep, they're going to be undefeated.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I'm like you. Lightning is going to.
Yeah. Something's going to happen at some point. Just statistically, it's going to happen.
It's got to.
Because we did go a 16-0 and then lost in the playoffs. And the Dolphins went all the way at one time. But I think that's the only team in NFL history that ever did it.
I'm going to skip the next one, and we'll do it next time because it's kind of long and involved that we can really talk about it. I got quite a few things here to talk about. I'll go to this
Been
one.
up all night again?
Yeah, just about. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on reparations?
Oh, God, yes.
As this, no doubt, will be rolled out during the madness that precludes the next presidential taffy pull.
I think reparations is going to be the Achilles heel for the Democrats. If they start pushing that, they're going to throw out so many votes across the country. Now, it sounds good in the liberal East and the liberal West, but the rest of the country, it's the third rail.
I think you're absolutely right. I really and truly believe that.
And it's not racial so much. Even some of the black people don't believe in it. They don't.
I
That's
don't
crazy.
see how you can possibly give every black person in this country $4,000. Okay?
Oh, they were talking about a lot more than that.
Oh, well, I just picked a number.
Okay.
But because how do you prove your slave roots? I mean, you're black.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
the blacks also come from the Caribbean and from parts of Africa. Well,
See, they want to go back further from the Caribbean. Then they say, well, they came from Africa to the Caribbean, and then they go from here to here. And but they all came from some place. Everybody came from some spot somewhere.
you're right, they came from Africa to the Caribbean, but their family never went through being a slave.
No, that's right.
And that's what this is all about, paying
Reparations.
for the sins of slavery.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, aside from murder, rape, I cannot think of a worse crime than enslaving people. To me, it is about the ultimate sin. I mean, it's off the scoreboard. To do what was done to those people. But you know what? We certainly mishandled the Indians in this country too, and continue to this day to do
this
it.
day.
So, and if anyone deserves reparations, the Indians get in line
I
first.
agree there. They should be first in line.
Yeah, and we give them a lousy healthcare system that's supposed to be good, but that doesn't work because no doctors volunteer for it.
That's right.
They don't want it. It's bad duty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we put them in the most inhospitable areas of the country.
Well, of
They're
course.
either in the blinding heat of southern Arizona and southern New Mexico, or they're in the cold up on the Canadian border in North Dakota,
Yep.
or Montana. It's, boy, I'll tell you, we really have dealt off the bottom of the deck to these people. And yet, we've tried to work in the Indian communities, in the reservations, and for the most part, they reject the help.
Yeah.
There's some dignity issues there, I believe, and It's the highest rate of alcoholism
Oh
in
my
the
God,
country.
alcoholism is just horrid.
And
But slavery is a complex issue. It's something that happened. It was. We can't change it. But reparations is not going to change anything. It's just a money grab.
that's right. I mean, it's like finding the urn that contains a genie on
Yeah.
the seashore. You can take the genie out, but you can't put
him
the
back in
genie
the
back
bottle.
in again,
That's
you
right.
know? And slavery happened. And there is just no way we can undo slavery.
You can't undo anything. You
You can't
can't
undo anything. It's like a murder. You can't undo a murder. The victim's dead.
When slavery came, it was accepted around the world as a accepted practice, not just here. They were taken from Africa, sold out by other tribes that sold their other tribes into slavery to the
Yes,
slavers.
exactly.
And to take prisoners as slaves was a common thing. You raided this village, you
the
took slaves.
slaves that
Yeah.
came to this country had been slaves in Africa, enslaved
Wow,
by
Other slaves, other Africans. Yeah.
Africans, you
Yeah.
know. So
It's
they're
so
the
complex
ones,
that we could debate this kind of thing
Yeah.
for days. It has been, over and over
it
and
has
over.
been, and it's going to be in this coming election.
Oh yeah,
I know it's going to be rolled out, and your heart says one thing and your head says another.
yeah,
It's a slippery slope to go down. We can't do it.
yeah,
Do we give them Project Head Starts? Yeah, we do.
yeah. We do.
But that doesn't work well either
There's
sometimes.
affirmative action.
Yeah.
There's
So, anyhow, anyway, we've been given the sign that this segment is over. I know that you're weeping, and I can hear the gnashing.
Is that what
of
she means in there when she's going like this?
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering what that was.
So, folks, we'll pick this up in our next episode. We'll put a bookmark here in my notebook. So, listen, go forth and have fun. Enjoy yourselves. And we'll await the coming of fall.
I think it's here.
I think so, too. It was last night. Yeah.
Take care.
Take care, folks.
Bye-bye.